On for a walk right now, thinking about a few different things. I want to give some sex tips. One thing to understand about sexual attraction and sexual compatibility. And coffee got my teeth looking yellow. That's crazy. But one thing to understand about sexual compatibility and sexual attraction is that timing and the way you approach the situation is going to play probably even a bigger part in how sexually compatible you are with somebody than just how sexually astute you are. Get what I'm saying? Sometimes timing plays a big part in a situation. Timing plays a real big part. It is not on you to understand the time. Well, it's on you to understand, but it's not on you to sit there and wait for the right time all the time. You just do what you do. But just understand that timing is going to play an aspect of it. It's going to play a part in it. But when I'm talking about some sex tips, there's some different things you can do, right? So, like, let's say a woman told you that she never had an orgasm from getting head before. As a man, you take some real dominant, sexual, masculine energy to the woman, right? And then you tell her, sit on the floor, sit on the bed, and show you how she masturbates. Then you just mimic the strategies and the motions that she uses on her clit to determine how you're going to get her off with the head. Like, it's not that difficult. One thing I like to do is ask questions. You know what I'm saying? So the questions you need to have in your repertoire, and you can ask them. You start off eating the pussy. Then you do it on your own time. You know what I mean? Like, you do your own thing. You do it for maybe 5 minutes or so. Then you start asking questions. If she's not close, like she seems like she's about to come within that 5 minutes, then you just stop and ask questions. You know what I mean? And you can play with the clip with your fingers while you're doing it. Just make sure your hand's clean. You know what I mean? But one way to go about that is you just ask her. You just ask her. All you gotta say is this. You want more pressure, less pressure. You like the up and the down motions, the side to side, or the circles. You ask her, do you like me to suck on the clit, slurp on the clit, or lick on the clit? Do you like the flat tongue, or you like the, you like the more pointy tongue? And you just ask her what she likes. And you ask her while you're doing your thing. And you ask that shit at different times. So you can be eating that shit for like 5 minutes or something like that. Then you ask, hey, you want more or less pressure, faster or slower? You like it more when I go left or right, or up and down, or in circles? Is there a specific spot on your clit that you like the most? As you get experience, you're going to realize that there's, like, one thing I learned is that women are more alike than they're different. Like, in this day and age, everybody wants to think that they're a snowflake. And what does snowflake mean? Snowflake means that you think that you're different from everybody else. You're completely one of a kind. When it comes to sexuality, in my experience, women aren't all that different. They're really not. Sexually. As far as what gets them off. You just might think it is because you're approaching different situations with a different mindset and a different energy. So, like, let's say you enter one relationship prematurely integrated. One thing about premature integration is that chances are that woman's not going to be having penetrative orgasms. Right? That's going to take work. It's going to take time. Because if what you're attracting a woman to a relationship with is letting her know that she can have control, then the thought of losing control sexually is something that will turn her off to a certain extent. You get what I'm saying? It'll turn her off to a certain extent. So what you got to do is just look at the situation and say, okay, cool, well, let me know what I want as a man. And when I know what I want as a man, that's how I'm going to approach the situation. And when you approach the situation that way, then you can start to develop an understanding of how women respond to you sexually. Like, regardless of what type of woman it is, what archetype you think she is, you're just going to see how that woman responds to you sexually. And when you take a specific approach that you like to take, and that's your bait, especially if you use sexual bait, then you'll realize that a woman it's a lot easier for a woman to tap into her sexual energy. You get what I'm saying? So you can do these things a variety of ways. You can do it a variety of ways. But those are just some head tips. You know, you can ask a woman, you know what I mean? You can do some little shit. Like, some women like to spit on their pussy, some don't. But one thing I will say is this. When it comes to things that are seen as nasty, or things that are seen as aggressive or abrasive, the more sexually attracted to you a woman is, the more she's going to enjoy and derive pleasure from you doing those things. So certain things you don't ask to do, you know what I mean? Let's say you eat your pussy, then you just spit on it, you know what I mean? And then you go back and you lick that motherfucker up. You ask if she like her pussy to be sucked on. But over time, and if you need some videos for some stuff to watch to get your game right, hit me up. I'll send you some videos. There's some shit on Pornhub. Because not all porn is bad. You know, one point I do want to make. It's loud as fuck on my wall. But one point I do want to make is that there's a narrative going around that porn sex is just inherently bad. That's not true. Women just do not like to be seen in a purely sexual light in that type of way unless they see you as that type of man. They don't like it because they know that if you know that that's what they like, that's how you're going to approach them. They know that if that's what they like, that you're going to feel less inclined to try to invest in them and have sex with them first. So oftentimes what a woman says is trying to weed out beta males, trying to weed out weak niggas, weak dudes, trying to weed them out through saying what she likes. And the dudes who give a fuck what it is that she likes are going to be the dudes who do that stuff. And when her cup is low, and you know, just like look at my videos about cup theory, when her cup is low, she's gonna want a beta male again. So when her cup is low, that's when she's gonna want and desire those things that she says she wants. That's when she feels like she's sticking up for herself, doing the things that she likes to do, doing the things that she enjoys. But the truth is that she enjoys whatever the fuck you want to do and that you like to do if she likes you. So some more sex tips. And some of this stuff correlates to both cup theory as well as Brody's scale for sexual attraction. You get what I'm saying? Some of this stuff, it relates to both. It relates to both Brody's scale of sexual attraction as well as cup theory. So certain things that would make one woman want to stop the sexual interaction and get up, if she's not that sexually attracted to you or she's not that feminine and submissive with you, are the same things that would cause a woman who is highly sexually attracted to you to come on the spot, to just start orgasming. Get what I'm saying? And the thing about it is this: your job is not to delineate between which woman is which. Your job is to do those things, to do the things that you enjoy doing. And if she don't like that shit, she's just not compatible with you. And I know that may sound counterintuitive to consent culture. Real shit. A woman is not going to know or say everything that she likes to do before she fucks with you. She's not. If you think that a woman is going to know and tell you everything that she likes and enjoys and would enjoy, and that she knows beforehand, and that those are things that you're going to just consent to ahead of time, you're putting yourself in a disadvantageous position, because a woman will play that game of pretending to not be as sexual as she is because she sees you as relationship material and she doesn't want to be judged as a whole. What you got to do when a woman talks like that is tell her, like, I don't give a fuck about that. You know what I mean? She'll be like, what, you just think? Like, I remember one time I talked to this woman and I said, you know what I'm trying to do? You know, whatever it was, I don't remember how the whole conversation went. She called me out the blue. She was like, you just think I'm a girl who be around here sucking dick? I'm like, yeah, for me. Yeah. Every woman's a dick sucker to me. Because if you're not sucking, we ain't fucking. If you ain't sucking, we ain't fucking. That's the motto. I'm not even having sex with a woman who's not sucking dick. I don't know how dudes end up in full relationships with women who ain't sucking dick. I don't get it. This shit is ridiculous to me. I was 17 years old and I wasn't fucking with that shit. If you ain't sucking, we ain't fucking. Not we ain't in no relationship. We ain't even having sex in the first place. But there's a lot of different things that come along with this. So I'm gonna give some more sex tips. Know what kind of dick you got, for real. Knowing what type of dick you got is a very important thing. Why? You need to study. As a man, study that shit. Study a diagram of a woman's sexual erogenous spots, of her erogenous zones. Study that shit. Like you trying to take a test. Get that shit to second nature, so you already know what you're doing. Right? You gotta study that shit. I'm not even joking. I'm dead ass saying study. Because you'll be surprised how many men and women don't know about the A spot, don't know about the O spot, don't know that cervical orgasms are possible. Think that a woman can't orgasm from penetration alone. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many people think that shit. Or who are ignorant of these different things. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be in that position. You get what I'm saying? You don't want to be in that position. So there's different things that correlate to it. Know what kind of dick you got. I'm going to try to break this shit down by size. A lot of people ain't going to do that because they feel like talking about different dick sizes is gay. I don't give a fuck. Listen, if you like 4 inches, 4.5 inches, and that's going to, and I think 4.5 inches, if I were to say what average is, average starts at 4.5 inches, and then it goes up to about 6 inches to 6.5 inches. That's what average is, right? And then average goes from about 4.5 to 6.5 inches. That's like the average range of dick size. So after you get to about 7.5 inches, then you in the large or big territory. You get what I'm saying? And then when you get to like 9 inches, then you in like the huge territory. You get what I'm saying? And there's niggas who even beyond that. But if you like 4.5 inches, but your shit is rock solid, you got an upward curve, hit that shit missionary, put her legs up on your shoulder, put her legs up on your shoulders, maybe even put both legs on one shoulder, lift her up some, put a pillow up under her. That way you hitting right on the G spot. Right? If you like average, there's different things you can do. Sometimes you got to learn how to rabbit fuck. You get what I'm saying? You got to learn how to get her as turned on and as aroused as you can. And then hit that shit real fast, real hard, and knock it up out of there. The thing to understand about this, mass times velocity is force. If you are lacking in mass, then you got to compensate in velocity. And that's a hard pill to swallow. It can be a hard pill to swallow for some guys. If you're lacking in mass, you got to make it up in velocity. And you got to make it up in velocity and directing where you're going to attack. You got to know what spot you're attacking. If you're having sex with a woman, you putting your dick inside of her pussy. Know what spot you can hit. Know what spots you can hit. And with every stroke, for the most part, what you do is you make sure you're attacking one of the spots. At least one of the spots. You get what I'm saying? So, people say size doesn't matter. That's not true. Size does matter. But how it matters is this. There's less work you have to do to hit different spots, but there are spots in a woman's in her vagina, in her vagina, where if she's not aroused enough, that shit is gonna hurt and it's gonna be uncomfortable. So while there are more spots you can hit, there's more chances that you will hurt that woman and make her feel uncomfortable when you're having sex. So regardless of whether you are big on the bigger side or the smaller side, you need to be able to hit those different spots. And a lot of that is going to be through finessing angles. Take your dick, get that motherfucker hard, and study the angles that it leans to. If you lean down, then if you fucking a woman in prone bone, look up prone bone, if your dick leans down, then if you fucking a woman in prone bone, you're gonna be in a situation to where you're gonna be hitting the A spot if your dick is at least about 6.5 inches. If you're about 6.5 inches, you gotta be all the way in. But you can be about 6.5 inches, 7 inches, 7.5 inches. If you leaning down, you're at the A spot. That's if you're hitting it from the back, hit it from prone bone. If you're hitting it from the back, try to angle yourself, your hips down, or angle your body forward in a way that's gonna put pressure on the front wall. You get what I'm saying? When you put pressure on that front wall, that's when you're hitting the A spot. And that A spot, that's the shit that make a woman start crying during sex. That's the shit that make a woman start having mental breakdowns during sex. O spot, that shit's cool too. You know, one way of hitting that is if you're on the larger side, you hitting it from the back, you're in her vagina is a little bit higher up than where your pelvis is. So let's say you on the couch, or you're hitting it off the side of the couch. And when you're hitting it off the side of the couch, her vagina is a little bit higher than when your dick is. So when you're hitting it in, your dick is kind of angling up a little bit. So if you got a dick that curves upwards, you can hit that A spot. I mean, you can hit the O spot. That's the deep spot. This is the deepest spot in the pussy, is the O spot. Because what you got to think about is there's an anterior fornix and a posterior fornix in the cervix. A woman has to be extremely aroused for her to be able to orgasm from cervical stimulation, right? And a lot of times that may just happen when a woman's riding you, right? When she's riding you, she's getting her rhythm. You ever seen that video by Alexis K. Tyler? Talking about she just riding and she starts getting her rhythm, and then she just starts losing it. And she smacked the nigga upside the head. The dick can make you slap somebody. You know, those are different things that can happen. Bitch ain't about to slap me. But I'm just telling you how that shit can work sometimes. So you got to know the different spots. There's G-spot. And I'm gonna say some real shit. If you got a little dick, but your shit got a curve and it got a strong root to it, right? If you got like 4 inches of dick and your shit curved up with a damn curved up with a big head and a strong base, then you in a position where you can make a woman come from G-spot orgasms even though your dick is little. A nigga who got a big straight dick that's not super thick, he's not gonna be able to make that woman have G-spot orgasms as easy as you can. You gotta know what it is. One thing I've studied over time is that women have different reactions emotionally and mentally to different types of orgasms. So, in my experience, A-spot orgasms, that's my forte. Clitoral orgasms too, but A-spot orgasms tend to give, it's somewhere in between, kind of like the G-spot orgasm effect and the clitoral orgasm aspect. You know what I mean? It's somewhat in between that, because what a G-spot orgasm typically does is it really relaxes a woman. It really opens her up to a certain state of deep relaxation when she experiences G-spot orgasms. You can do that with your fingers, you can do that with your toys, you can do that with a dick. You know, to me, I don't think that it's best to commit yourself to a relationship if you can't give a woman penetrative orgasms with your dick. But if you stick with me, I'll, listen to a nigga, I'm gonna help you out. Because I've been in situations where women couldn't have vaginal orgasms from penetration before, and they eventually got to the place where they could. Some of those were women to where we linked up 1, 2, 3 times, and within those 1, 2, 3 times, they had their first vaginal orgasms from penetration ever. And then I've also dealt with women to where we're dealing for 9 months, 8, 9 months, and then I tweaked something a certain way, coming all over the place multiple times, back to back. So, there's different things that come with it. Don't let women gaslight you into thinking that they cannot have vaginal orgasm from penetration. Because if she cheats on you and has them, you're probably not going to want to be with her anymore. One thing I always emphasize men do is this. If there's anything that you would feel insecure about, if a woman did that with somebody else, require that she does that with you before you're willing to be open to a relationship. Because if you find out that she's done those things in her past with someone else after the fact, or if she cheats on you, or if y'all decide to open up the relationship and she does those things with someone else, your ass gonna be hurt. 9 out of 10, your ass gonna be hurt. So one thing I'll say is this: know the angle that your dick is at. Know the angle of your dick, right? And what I mean by know the angle of your dick is if your dick curves a little bit to the left, then what you do is you put a woman on her right side. And you don't hit it straight from the right side. You angle your ass a little bit even past your ass. So like, let's say we right here. This is the booty right here. Angle off a little bit this way. That way you hitting that front wall, right? I did that to give a woman her first vaginal orgasm penetration as we've been dealing with each other 8 years. So you really got to think about trying out different positions, trying out different angles to hit those spots. Know what the spots are and do what you can to hit those spots. Know what kind of dick you got. If your dick curves up, then her putting her legs on your shoulder is really the move, especially if her legs get closed together. If your dick is angled down, the hitting it prone bone is really the move. Now, one thing I will say is this, as far as sex tips. If you got a really big dick, certain positions will be uncomfortable for a woman, right? Certain positions will be uncomfortable for a woman. So if your shit is curved up and you fucking a woman from the back with a huge dick, a lot of the time she's not gonna like that. You know, if you see, this is the thing. If you have like an average dick or slightly above average dick, just a little bit above average, then what's gonna happen is this. A woman is gonna enjoy the comfort of having sex with you. Not necessarily the excitement, but the comfort. So what I mean by her enjoying the comfort is this. You want a woman who's going to be attached to you sexually because of the excitement, the intensity of it, not the comfort of it. If you are smaller or bigger than the average range, right, which is 4.5 to 6 or 6.5 inches. If you're larger than that or smaller than that, you need a woman to be highly aroused to have successful sex with her. You get what I'm saying? You need that. And I'm gonna be honest with you. You probably need that if you average. If we like 5.2, 5.5 inches, 5 inches, something like that, you probably need that. So these are just some different things to think about. Another thing is this. You gotta understand womanese. You can't listen to everything women say about what they want or what they desire or what they like sexually. You gotta know the difference between a woman trying to speak from a perspective of her social programming to weed out and extrapolate beta males for the purpose of filling her cup versus a woman who is really trying to slut herself out with a man who's dominant and masculine. You gotta know the difference. Because if you don't know the difference, then let's say you'll be dealing with a woman and you'll be fucking her, and then you'll smack her ass or you'll choke her or you'll try to spit in her mouth or you'll put a thumb in her ass. She'll say, hold up, I don't like that. Right? You gotta know the difference. You gotta know the difference, because when a woman's really feeling you, those things that take leisure, those things that take privilege, those things to where you kind of just take a certain aspect of the pussy, those things turn her on. That's something that counteracts the idea of consent culture and social programming. A woman wants you to do certain things that don't show that you're asking for permission to do it. Make sure that you get, not permission necessarily, but make sure you get that woman showing you, like pre-consent. You make sure that you get that woman showing you, texting you, saying how much she wants to fuck you. So when you link up, you don't have to ask her if she wants to have sex. You let things progress naturally towards that point. Just like I had another video talking about how things progressing naturally doesn't mean you're going with the flow. It means that you're setting the situation up. If a woman isn't trying to fuck with you, let her ass go. You ain't trying to catch no Me Too, man. You're not. But if she is, beat that pussy up like a runaway slave. Another thing is this: if you got a really big dick, especially if you curved upwards, one thing you can do is give a woman them slow strokes to the G-spot. Giving them G-spot orgasm from slow strokes, she gonna love that shit. She gonna love that shit. Right? But one thing I realized is this. Like A-spot orgasms versus G-spot orgasms, it's a little bit of a different thing. But I will say this right here. A woman doesn't mind you giving her clitoral orgasms if you're a beta male. That's just like a dude letting a woman suck his dick who he's not attracted to. It's the same thing. The penis is homologous to the clitoris. The G-spot is homologous to the prostate. People need to know this shit. A woman doesn't mind losing control a little bit. Because a woman kind of almost stays in control except for like a few seconds when she's having a clitoral orgasm. So a woman doesn't mind a beta male giving her a clitoral orgasm. She does not mind. So all the dudes talking about, well, as long as I give her an orgasm for eating her pussy, it don't matter. We're still compatible. That's not necessarily what that means. That's not necessarily what that means. You want a woman who is comfortable giving up control, relinquishing control to you, because that's going to play a part in your good dick and guidance. It's going to play a part in the way you interact with women in general. It's going to play a part in how you do certain things. It's going to play a part in a woman being willing to follow your lead into an unknown place. When a woman's willing to follow your lead into an unknown place, you are now into a position where, and you could do that sexually, but now you're in a position where you kind of lay a foundation for her to want to follow you outside of sex. Right? Some more sex tips. Let me think of some sex tips right quick. Big part was just knowing the different spots, knowing her erogenous zones around her body. You know what I mean? Just kissing on her neck, licking on her neck, biting her. There's, biting her thighs, scratching her. A big aspect of this is going to be determined by a woman's sexual attraction to you and how in a moment and relinquish from her inhibitions she is. If a woman is in a position to where she is highly sexually attracted to you, certain things will make her orgasm when you're having sex with her just off the strength of you doing it at all. I was dealing with this one woman. When I was fucking with her, all I had to do was like squeeze her side or just grab just some random part of her body and squeeze it. Apply some masculine strength to it. And when I did that, she would be coming on command. You get what I'm saying? Another thing I'll say is this: if a woman is at that place with you and your dick ain't necessarily built for G-spot orgasms like that, because I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Mine, I'm on the larger side, I'll admit it. But at the same time, I'm angled down a little bit. And I ain't super thick. Of course, I'm over average. I don't want to say, of course, like everybody is. But I'm over average as far as girth, too. But at the same time, oh, shit. But at the same time, I haven't always had the most success with giving women G-spot orgasms. It's mostly been A-spot orgasms for me. So one way I've learned to overcome that is just through this process of this right here. If you have a woman who has a very high level of sexual attraction to you, put her ass on a couch or in a chair or something like that, where her butt is hanging kind of off the side or off the front of it a little bit. When a woman is in that particular position, what you do from that place is you reach. Like if a woman has a very high level of sexual attraction to you, then she can fuck with you without feeling like she can fuck with you, and you can do things that will cause other women discomfort without her feeling discomfort. Like if she derives pleasure from you squeezing her body parts randomly, like her stomach or her thighs, or scratching her thighs, or choking the fuck out of her. If she derives pleasure from that, this is Brody's technique, right? I created this shit myself. I never saw nobody else talk about this. What you do is this: you sit her off the side of a couch or a chair, and when you sit her off the side of a couch or a chair, you angle your dick up, right? Like I'm 5'9", 5'10", so I'm not that tall. So to me, it'd naturally be angled up if I'm off the side of a chair. And when you in that particular position, what you do from there is you reach for her pelvic bone. Listen closely. You reach for her pelvic bone. You dig behind it. Make sure your nails ain't too long. Like my nails kind of long right now, because it's my birthday. It was just my birthday weekend. I've been smoking. But what you do is this: you reach behind it and you push down on her G-spot from behind her pelvic bone. And it might not be the pelvic bone. I'm not sure what the bone is called, or if it's even a bone at all, but it's right there in front of, like, over where her pubis mons is. You reach behind it, you dig in, you push down, and then you angle your dick up. And then you pretty much push up with your dick until your dick is pretty much touching your fingers behind her G-spot. You do that enough, and she gonna be coming. A lot of shit when it comes to sexual compatibility and orgasms has to do, it's like a game of inches. I'm a boxer, man. It's a game of inches. When you play that game of inches, it's really about the angle that you hit it at and what spot you hitting. And when you understand that, then you know it's just certain dudes spend years fucking with women without them having penetrative orgasms, right? When you spend years with women without having penetrative orgasms, you'll be surprised that a lot of what's keeping you from having those experiences is simply that it's a game of inches. It's a game of angles. Just like boxing. So if it's a game of inches, it's a game of angles, then you put yourself in a position where you try different positions. And one thing you can do is this. This is some really good advice. When you fucking a woman, ask her to angle her body to where you're hitting right on that spot. She's gonna know what the spot is. And if she don't, then you gotta break it down to her and show her where they are. Had that conversation with her where a woman knows where her spots is. One thing I've experienced in my sexual experience is that I know more about women's bodies than they do 9 out of 10. That's not being braggadocious. I'm talking about if you tell a woman about the A spot and she like, what? What is that? Or O spot? Like, what is that? Cervical orgasms? What is that? When you let her know where those spots are and her sexual attraction is high enough to you, then when you in it, you tell her, listen, angle your body to where I'm hitting on that spot with every stroke. And when you tell her, angle your body to where I'm hitting on that spot with every stroke, if she's submissive to you, she's gonna listen. Some women, they have a fear of losing control, so they will purposefully put themselves in a position where you're not gonna be hitting on that spot. And then you'll be sitting there surprised that she's not having vaginal orgasms. Like, no, she's afraid of losing control. So she's gonna make sure that you're hitting on a very neutral spot within her pussy. The thing about having a big dick is if you have a big dick, it's not really a lot of neutral spots you're gonna hit. You're gonna hit the spots to a certain extent regardless, but that doesn't automatically mean she's gonna have an orgasm. If you're bigger or smaller than average, you're gonna need to make sure that woman is properly aroused and lubricated before you start fucking her. You get what I'm saying? You gotta make sure she's properly aroused and properly lubricated. And when you make sure that those things are what's going on, then you're in a position where she can take bigger. A lot of guys get mad at women talking about Kegels because women talk about dick size. And it's like, the thing is this, the same Kegels that make a woman able to take a smaller dick and enjoy it are the same things that make her able to take a bigger dick that she previously couldn't enjoy. I've been with women who were with smaller guys before me, and then I broke them in, and they were able to take my dick all the way. And they were able to take guys after me who are way bigger than I am, and they were still able to enjoy it. I got a video about that, Pandora's box of female sexuality, female sexual nature. You know, a woman's going to be more geared towards something that's closer to average, maybe a little bit bigger. And when she's geared towards that, something that can happen is this. If you start breaking that woman in, because really, I call it the second virginity, when a woman gets broken in. I think that the first man that a woman has vaginal orgasms with is more important than the first man she has sex with. That's a very important statement, so I'm gonna say this shit twice. The first man that a woman has vaginal penetrative orgasms with is more important than the man who takes her virginity. It's more important. It's more of an experience. It's more of a moment that's more memorable almost than losing her virginity at times. You get what I'm saying? And something that can happen is a woman can be, if you're in a prematurely integrated relationship, a woman can be in a position where she's not fully sexually open. She's not fully sexually responsive or reactive, right? Because under a 8 level of sexual attraction, you know, it's going to be somewhat transactional as far as her sexual attraction to you. But once you reach an 8 level of sexual attraction on Brody's scale, you reach a certain point to where her sex drive becomes reactive, which means that if you want it, she wants it because you want it. At a 9 level, she wants it because she already wants it. She looks at you, she feels your energy, she's sexually attracted to you, that's what she wants to do. If you reach a 10 level of sexual attraction, I'm gonna say some shit that's a little controversial. You know, you need to deal with a woman whose sexual attraction is equivalent to your level of character. Some men can't handle dealing with a woman who has a 10 level of sexual attraction for them because those men don't have good character. They don't have leadership skills. So that woman gonna be acting crazy. The higher up a woman's sexual attraction gets over an 8, the more masculine her desire for sex becomes, right? Under an 8, it's becoming less transactional the higher up it gets for her desire to have sex with you on a non-sexual value that you're adding. But once it gets to an 8, then it's when it becomes purely sexual attraction, and between 8 and 10 is pure sexual attraction. And I'm gonna post a video talking about that soon. I already got a couple videos talking about it, but I'm gonna break it down a little bit more. So one thing to understand, when you're prematurely integrated, a woman often will not be able to tap into her full sexuality. You got to learn how to tap into that as a man yourself. And you can't expect her to have that preconceived notion of what she wants. Because when you're prematurely integrated, a woman is going to use sex almost pretty much transactionally about what she desires from you, about what type of experience she wants to have. So she's not going to put you on a pedestal as the guy who she wants to have her most exciting and intense sexual experiences with. If that's a woman who you already love, you're already connected to, that's your responsibility to go that place with that woman. And you got to push for it. You got to know what you're doing and take it there. Get what I'm saying? You got to know what I'm saying on that. But I emphasize the biology first approach. With the biology first approach, that's going to put you in a position to where you're at least an 8 level of sexual attraction. If a woman has never had a vaginal orgasm, because, you know, physical attraction and sexual attraction are two different things. Two completely different things. A woman, I talked to this woman before, she said that she saw me as a 10 and had a 9 level of sexual attraction for me, but she saw her ex, who was her baby father, her baby daddy, as a 9, but she had a 6 level of sexual attraction to him. Spent 6 years with him, never had a vaginal orgasm. Never, from penetration. And he would give her orgasm from head from time to time, but it wasn't even her best. You get what I'm saying? It wasn't even up there on that list like that. I replaced all that shit real quick. But a woman can also see you as a 7 overall, have a 9 level of sexual attraction to you. So don't worry about how a woman ranks you. Just worry about how she responds to you. Worry about how she reacts to you. And I'm not even saying worry. Just do your thing and then just know where she stands with you sexually, right? If You can gauge a woman's sexual attraction to you by how big of a part her social programming plays in her desire, right? So if you have to make her comfortable, if she's too tired or too sleepy or hungry or whatever it is, like a 7 level of sexual attraction, she has to be comfortable or already in the mood. If it's an 8 level of sexual attraction, you can be upfront with her, and that kind of wavers. It depends, but just being upfront, you don't have to sugarcoat it. When you get up to a 9 level of sexual attraction, she actively desires it, and the environment does not matter. It can be a dirty room, it can be a broom closet, be an abandoned house. It can be a variety of different things that for the typical woman, she would get turned off by, but for this woman with you, those are things that add to her level of arousal and her level of excitement. And at a 10 level, a woman will pay for it. A woman will either pay for it or she'll get very aggressive with you, right? And it doesn't matter if you approach her at all. So this is Brody's take. Just give me some sex tips and some advice talking about sexual polarity and different things like that. Not sexual polarity, but sexual attraction and sex tips and womanese. And I'm gonna do some more breakdowns on womanese. So I'm done. This is Brody Darn.